Hello and welcome to another episode of Dark Souls 2. We're going to take on the undead, the undead crypt in this episode. You can see I'm mistakenly charged through this early part of the area before starting the recording. So yeah, this episode is I'm actually post-combing this episode. So yeah, uh, there was a undead citizen up behind us. I think it was an undead citizen carrying a torch. You really want to kill that guy because if he comes up in here into this room, all of these grave wardens will attack you, and you really don't want to have to deal with all of them. Okay, so he teaches us to have mercy gesture, and he sells this really cool armor set, the insolent set. I really like the chest piece, but I don't have the souls to purchase it. But it doesn't really matter. I probably wouldn't wear it anyway. So, yeah, this area is the Undead Crypt right after the Shrine of Amana. It's actually a kind of short area if you go through it the way that I'm going to. Um, but it's really dark, which I'll show you how to change that. Um, this is for some reason there are cyanites in this area. I don't really know the lore behind that. I'll have to look into it. But yeah, I haven't I've had this recording for a while and I just haven't taken the time to sit down and narrate, commentate, whatever you want to call it. Been kind of really busy lately, so my schedule's on and off, busy, not busy, whatever. But uh, I am post commentating this. If you walk past that first fog gate, uh, you can drop down, and Grave Warden Agdane says not to light any fires. Well, if you come here and use a flame butterfly just long enough to light this pedestal, then you have this really. When I done it on my first playthrough, it was really kind of like, oh wow, that was really cool. But I kind of miss capturing it because I wasn't really paying attention, I suppose. But yeah, that kind of lights the area up a little bit, so that's kind of nice. Kind of a nice little thing FromSoft did for us. Uh, I'm actually post commentating this video after the day after, which is today is August 27th, the day after the Crown of the Old Iron King was released, and I've played about 25 minutes of it. I really want to play some more of it, and I want to record it, so I'm going to try and do the two DLCs on this character. Um, but enough about that. We're going to summon Vertical Anomaly. to help us get through the area. From this bonfire, there's a couple of ways to get to it, but once you get here, it's pretty much a mad dash from here to the I guess you would say the boss room, kind of the boss hallway. I don't know how to explain it accurately, but if you know your way around, it's pretty easy to remember. But I haven't been through the area in a while, so you see all these stones on the ground. They're actually headstones or grave markings, and undead. I think they're just undead. I don't think they're undead citizens. They come up out of their graves or out of the ground, and they can cause you some trouble. And there's also some Lydia pyromancers, which we will see one here. Ah, there's one. She follows us into the room, and we are again invaded by a nameless usurper. Uh, Lydia, I think, of Lindelt. I think that's her name. I still haven't looked it up. I don't really, I don't know. But luckily we got Pyro Bro, Vertical Anomaly, doing some work. Really not. Still same old song and dance. She uses her dagger to try and get close and backstab and cause bleed or whatever it is she does. In this room is a secret wall, secret door, and inside there's a chest. On the left side of the chest is a ghost that will attack you that I forgot about. Inside the chest is Avalon and a couple of bolts. Heavy bolts, yeah. So, the Avalon's a really cool weapon. I think it's a really good PvP weapon, but I'm not much of for PvP in Dark Souls 2, so especially since they nerfed the faith and lightning, so yeah, PvP is kind of out the window. Yeah, you can see down this hallway out of the walls, the those ghosts come out. These two shield wielding enemies, they're pretty tough because you have to take them on. If you're by yourself, 2-on-1. Luckily, I do have a summon, so it's 2-on-2, and I guess he's obviously using hexes and pyromancies. Uh, I think he's using the Hay Knight sword. If I'm if I seen that correctly, I'm not certain about that. I think I seen him using the Hay Knight sword. Uh, but yeah, he's dealing some pretty good damage. Sadly, he soon is vanquished, in a kind of sad way, but that's all right. He helps out a little bit. Uh, Once you drop down into this room, you really don't want to hang around in here. There's actually a great light. I think it's a great lightning spear. It may just be a lightning spear behind a hidden wall along the edge. I wasn't concerned with it. What you want to do is find the doorway with the rail running straight down the middle of it, and he's standing right on it. I couldn't seem to find it, so I ran around the room a couple of times. Coming out of the room, you don't really want to sprint full pelt out of there, so yeah, that happens. That fog gate over there is actually where that bonfire was. We skipped that fog gate and dropped off the edge, and by pulling that lever, we created a shortcut, which we will be using, but a little bit later. This chest contains a Dark Knight stone, yeah, and a magic stone. So yeah, we're actually at the end of the area now. This is the boss hallway, I suppose. Down here is an enemy, undead citizen. He will ring that bell unless you kill him, and you can also ring that bell, like I did, and that's something you don't really don't really want to do because when you ring the bell, it calls out the Lydia pyromancers. I don't think it's Lydia. Lydia pyromancers or sorcerers, which are these mages here. They come out of their headstones or statues, whatever they're called, and they're pretty tough enemies. They don't have a whole lot of health, but they deal pretty good amount of damage with their blue flame. Yeah, their sword is called the blue flame. It does it has magic properties, so it deals a little bit of magic damage. So it does pretty good amount of damage to you when you take hits off of it. But if you try, you can usually outrange them. Their aggro range seems to have been enhanced or increased a little. Uh, you can see they cast. I don't know what that's called. I haven't used any sorceries on Dark Souls 2, so I'm not really certain what that particular sorcery was. But yeah, they're not too challenging if you take them on one at a time. This boss hallway is kind of a gauntlet. You can see at the end of the hallway, past these sorcerers, there are some more cyan knights. There's a lot of them. I think there's one, two, three, four, five. I think there's six. Maybe five, but I'm pretty sure there's six of them, all guarding the boss fog. That is the boss fog right there. So, and the pull, you can try and pull one at a time, and I think this front one is the only one that you can't pull any of them one at a time. It's always a double pull. You'll pull the one that you hit with the ranged attack, and you'll pull one other. So yeah, that's a thing. But it's not too bad if you understand the concept of crowd control, which I mean it's not really a crowd, but it is two enemies, and they will try and gang up on you. And they have a lot of poise. It's really the Dark Souls 2 really kind of irritates me with the poise aspect they have. In Dark Souls 1, poise was really useful for the player character and sometimes for the in-game enemies. But in Dark Souls 2, it just seems like your player character doesn't get any poise, and then in-game enemies get all the poise in the world. So it's just something I haven't really. It's just an irritating thing I've noticed, and I don't really worry too much about poise in Dark Souls 2. There's ways where you can increase it to kind of ungodly amounts, but I'm fairly certain with my armor set that I'm wearing now and the ring setup I have, my poise is probably at like 3, which is what it usually is at. But there's rings you can wear and all these other things you can do to really increase yours and decrease in-game enemies' poise. But I don't really mess with that too much, which I probably should, because then I wouldn't complain about it getting on my nerves if I did. That one great sword, Cyan Knight, is a single pull, so that's a good thing. But yeah, this the way to the boss is just a gauntlet of enemies, and I talked about it in previous episodes, and this is kind of what I meant when instead of really making the game more more difficult, they just threw more enemies at you, and I don't know, it's kind of monotonous fighting. I don't know, it's not really. I don't want to say it's not creative, but it's just kind of lacking, in my opinion. But I've already talked about that, so yeah. The two at the top of the stairs here, they really don't aggro on you unless you literally walk right up to them. See, I'm trying to get this one to pull, or to pull either one of them, and I just can't. I can't get them to pull. You have to go up to them. So yeah, this I actually enjoyed playing this or recording this episode because I got 2 summons, and that's about the most summons I've had in game in a while. Uh, I summoned NPC Grave Warden Agdane. Really not a useful NPC for this boss fight, but can Candor, Candor 22. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm probably not, and I apologize. But uh, they they prove their worth. They definitely do. They he she. I'll refer to them as they because I don't know if it's a he or she. But they survived the boss fight, so that's nice. Not leaving me hanging with a boss that's been doubly had the double HP increase. So oh yeah, that's kind of nice. This boss is Velstadt the Royal Aegis. Really a cool concept for a boss, but kind of a. I'm not gonna say he's a pushover because he's in no means not. He deals really high amount of damage, but you can block most of his attacks, whereas they cause uh, a lot of it takes a lot of stability to block his attacks. So it's usually better to just roll dodge because they are particularly easy to roll dodge through. Uh, but most of them have a wide area of effect, I suppose you would say. The hitboxes on them are pretty wide. He usually hits uh, 180 degrees around him, if not all the way around. Uh, he has fairly high defense. As you can see, I'm doing about 150 damage, and that's not very much. You can see there doing 43. This attack here, he is just powering up. I think he's giving. I think he gets dark elemental, or it just raises his defense. I'm not certain on that because there's no physical difference or aesthetic difference. I forgot about this. I literally have 1 HP, but there's no aesthetic difference to his bell, which is what that is. It's not a hammer; it's a bell. Uh, After he does that power up, but his armor, he himself exudes the dark aura of what dark weapons look like. So I'm not sure if it raises his defense or I'm not certain what that does. I'll have to look into it too because I'm really lazy and don't ever research anything that I talk about. But yeah, his attacks do a lot of damage, and I'm playing kind of sloppily. They're really easy to dodge. I'm just wearing most of them. Uh, it was to me it was a really long fight. I really kind of was getting tired of running around and attacking him because he just was. I just wasn't dealing the amount of damage that I wanted to. Uh, I'm not really sure what his weaknesses are. His elemental weaknesses, at least. But myself and Candor 22 take care of it, so it wasn't real big. I did almost die. Came very very close to dying, but all's well that ends well, right? Uh, that helm that the other player character was wearing was the King Vindrick. He is not hostile. He won't attack you. I think you can aggro him if you attack him, which is really a god awful idea. All my character slots are full from Dark Souls 2, on my Dark Souls 2 characters. Every one of them's full. I have a full screen of save characters, and only on one of them have I beaten King Vindrick. Just one. And it's just a lot of work, and to me, it's not worth the trouble. Hell no. So I'll just leave him be. She magically appears, yada yada, whatever. Um, the helm that the other player character was wearing was the old knight helm, Mastodon helm. I don't like it. That's the one I mentioned several episodes ago that I like the Mastodon or the old knight, ancient knight armor set, but I don't like the helm, and that was the helm I was referring to. I don't like the flat. thing on my head, whatever. This is the shortcut. When you pull that lever, this wall flattens down, and this is actually where we dropped off the edge from the boss, or from that fog gate. You run in, and to the left, and it takes you back to the to that to the bonfire where we summoned a vertical anomaly guy earlier. But we're gonna go back to Majula. I think, yeah, we're gonna go back to Majula, and I'll see you guys. I don't know where that is. I don't know what area that is. I have no idea what it is. After I don't know. Yeah, I was looking at the Sinner's Rise, and there was a what seemed to be a missing bonfire that I hadn't been to, and I didn't know. I was trying to figure it out, and I don't know what. I didn't really comprehend what I was missing. Uh, I actually don't think I take any levels. I wasn't paying attention. I don't remember if I take any levels, but I don't think I do because now she sells all the stones, uh, which is really kind of nice because it's really difficult to farm chunks. Slabs are actually really easy to farm. The stone knights by the King's Gate, I think it is. Yeah, the stone knights in that room of the king by the King's Gate bonfire, they drop slabs fairly often, so that's a good place to farm titanite slabs if you're trying to farm those. The I don't know what they're called. The enemies that jump out of the tar pits in the Black Gulch, they're good enemies to farm titanite from in general. They drop from titanite shards to titanite chunks, I believe. And other than that, I don't know of enemies. I can't think of any enemies off the top of my head that are good for titanite chunks. Uh, but there's a time between the end game and the new game plus where you can buy as much as you want of titanite chunks. So yeah, and if you're like me, you should by the end of the game have plenty of titanite slabs for any weapons you have, and if not, it really doesn't take long to farm titanite slabs from the stone knights. So yeah, and she'll sell infinite chunks, so it's really easy to go into New Game Plus with all the plus 10 equipment that you want. To progress forward, we are going to travel back to the Shaded Woods and take the third and last path from the Ruined Fork Road. This one is the middle one. By going this way, it's going to take us to a King's Gate, or a King's Door. And to open this door, it says to produce a symbol of the King, which we just got from defeating Velstadt. We got the King's Ring. Yeah, that's what it's called. Got the King's Ring. The door takes a long time to open, but it opens when you wear the King's Ring, so that's kind of nice. Let's see what to talk about. This video actually is going to run kind of short, but that's okay because I'm post-commentating it, and it's really nice to be able to post-com and not have to sit here for 40 minutes talking to myself. So we did not do the required steps for, I don't remember her name, Lucatil, so we don't get her equipment, and that's too bad. But that's it for this video. In the next one, I'm not sure if we'll finish Aldia's Keep or go to the DLC, but until then, I'll see you guys later.